Hi, it's Andy here at Photech Video, and accompanying me here today in the studio we have the lovely Hilda, who's going to be our model for today. Hi Hilda, thanks very much for coming.
Hi.
Don't forget to check out her Instagram page, which you can see here on the screen. In today's video we're going to look at how different light modifiers affect the different appearance of your photos. And we're going to move those light modifiers around so that we can see how it will affect the overall results here in the studio, showing you different light modifiers, for example, like a softbox with a grid, a standard 7-inch reflector, white diffusion attached to it, and if we have time, also some colored gels. During the video, you're going to see the straight out of camera photos which we're taking during this session, and at the end of the video, I will add some of the edited photos also from this session. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to bring in our main light, our key light. And our key light has an Octabox softbox attached to it. So I'm just going to bring that into a possible position. As you can see, this particular light is on wheels. This light stand is on wheels, which makes it much easier to move around the studio. Now, one of the things with this studio is that the ceiling is extremely low. I'm actually touching it now. You can hear it, maybe you can't see it, but you can hear it. It's a very low ceiling, which means that I can't raise my key light very much as the Octabox takes up a lot of space. But I think we'll be okay. So let's get that into position, raise it up as far as I possibly can, and that is the maximum that I can go. Now, all the flashes which I'm going to be using today are Neewer Q3 flashes. They have an output of about 200 watt seconds, and they are absolutely perfect for using here in a small studio. So I'm going to turn this on so that we're all ready to take some photos, and I'm going to turn on my flash trigger. The trigger which I'm using for these flashes is the Neewer QPRO flash trigger. You may be able to see that there's a little bit of a strange setup. I have the flash trigger here on a dual hot shoe adapter, which is then attached to the hot shoe of my camera. This means that the signal from my camera to shoot is being delivered on this dual hot shoe adapter to my flash trigger, okay? So the flash trigger itself is for the Nikon hot shoe, but as I'm not using high-speed sync or through the lens metering, all I need it to do is to fire my flashes. This is more than enough. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to set up my key light over here, my main light. So let's just check to see what it is. And this is A, this is my A light. So let's go into A here and turn it on. And we're going to set it, let's say for example, to 1/16 power. These flashes have about 8 or 9 stops of power, which you can increase or decrease in thirds of a stop. So we're going to start at 1/16. So let's turn that on there and turn on the manual flash and take it up to 1/16. And there we are, set to 1/16 power for this flash. So the first thing we're going to do is just take a test photo, but before that we're going to take our first photo of the day, which must be a black photo. So remember, if there is no flash and we are controlling all the ambient light, we should get almost 100% black photo. So and there we go. As you can see, there is just a small outline of Hilda in the photo, but everything is black. So that is absolutely perfect. So now let's turn on then our flash trigger, and then we'll be able to see again our live view. And let's just take our test photo now on 1/16 power on this key light. And there we have it. So the light is not a bad guess actually. At 1/16 power, that's not bad at all. So let's just take a look then at this photo and zoom in on it a little bit to see what that face lighting is like. And there we already have a semi-Rembrandt lighting look on the other side of the face, which is being created by the angle of the light and the nose, the shadow coming from the nose, which is creating that deep triangle there. And we can see that the further side of her face is very much in shadow, okay? So we'll be working on that little by little. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the key light round a little bit more so that we are lighting more of Hilda's face. So let's do another test there. And we can see again this time that more of her face has been illuminated, and that shadow has gone further down to one side. Now there are a few highlights there on that photo which we need to work on, so I think what we're going to do here is bring down our power from 1/16 and we're going to bring it down to 1/32 and give it another try now. Are we ready? Okay, so I think that is a little bit better because we are not seeing such highlights on this side and we have the highlights on the other side. Okay, I think that's better at 1/32 power. It's not too strong and those highlights have been reduced. However, we can see that the background is actually very, very grey. It's almost the color of the background in the studio. And I would like to be able to have that background a little bit darker. So how can we do that? Well, very simple. We're just going to take our grid, which came with the softbox, and I'm going to go across here carefully without knocking over any of the stands. In fact, what I'm going to do is turn this around so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's attach this then using the Velcro in each of these sections. And there, and on this one, and on this one, and that one, and the final one here. And there we go. So if I turn this now towards the camera, you will see that the grid is now attached. Okay, so I'm going to go around the other side and try not to knock anything over. And let's see now if we can get the angle of the light so that the background is darker than it was in the previous photo. And in case you don't remember what it was like, let's just go in there and have a look. Okay, so now you can see there the color of that background. Let's see if we can make it a little bit darker. Now I have an important question for Hilda. Hilda, can you see white? You can. Okay, so if Hilda can see white, then the light can also see her, all right? The moment that I turn this and she tells me that she can't see any white, can you still see white? And still? And still? And still? Okay, so now there is no light actually going to hit Hilda. So I'm going to go behind, because it's rude to go in front of people all the time, and I'm going to set this now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this edge of the light right in line with Hilda's head, okay? So let's give it another try now. Now this will have reduced a lot of light. And what I'm going to do is take it out of shot, because I can see it's in shot. Just a little bit more. Okay, I think we're there. And yeah. Okay, so now what we're going to do is another test. Remember that we are on 1/32 power. So let's give it a try. And what we're trying to do here is to get that background to be darker. So let's give it a try. And there we can see now our background is very dark, but also Hilda is also very dark, okay? So we're gonna have to increase the power of our light now. And I think we're gonna have to increase it actually more than to 1/16. So let's go to 1/8. These grids, bear in mind that the only part of light which is hitting Hilda is this part here, okay? Nothing from the back. So let's give it another try now. And now we are working on 1/8 power. So let's see how that one looks. Okay, now what we've got here then is a much smoother skin tone. Let's just go into there and you can see that is much smoother, much nicer. However, the other side of her face is still in a lot of shadow. So we're going to bring that around a little bit more. And this is going to affect, the more we bring it round, the more we're going to see the light hitting different parts of the background, okay? But we're still going to come out with something which is dark gray. If I were to move Hilda away from the wall, maybe 1 meter, and also move that light towards me, We could leave that background much darker, but in this particular instance, the light being so close to the background is going to affect it. So let's just try and bring this around a little bit more here so that it wraps around Hilda's face a bit more, and let's see what we get now. And are we ready? Okay, so now we can see that the light has wrapped around Hilda, around her face, and we can see that the light itself on her hair, on the key light side, is lovely. The light on her skin is more or less right. I think I'm going to drop that down just a little bit. And the light wrapped around her face is also quite good. So let me just bring this down a little bit more, 1/16 and a third, and see how this is looking. Are we ready, Hilda? Okay. Now I think that that is the light that we're looking for. This is on 1/16 and a third, so let's take it back down to 1/16. That should be absolutely perfect. Let's give it a try and see now. Yep, I think that is enough light. Good. All right, so now we have a small problem, and that is that the other side of Hilda's face is in shadow. Let's just look at that cat photo again. And we can see the other side is in shadow, and that's okay. But maybe it would be nice to see a little bit more light coming in the other side and just filling in those shadows a little bit. So I have two possibilities. One, I can add another flash, or I can add a reflector. So first of all, what we're going to do is we are going to add a reflector. Remember, reflectors are much cheaper than flashes. So if we can get away with it by using a reflector, let's give it a try. Let's do it. So I have to be careful here as I come around with this reflector. In fact, I'm going to drop it down a bit so that it moves back perfectly. And I'm going to come around, bring it round to the other side of Hilda. And there we go. Okay. So I'm going to bring it back up a little bit. Now, you may have seen as I was walking around that one side of this reflector is white and the other side is gold. Now, gold would obviously give a very golden hour look to her. It would be a very bronzy look when the light bounces off. We don't really want that at the moment, so we're going to use the white reflector. So the first important thing is to make sure that the reflector is not in shot, and you can see that it's just there on the corner. Okay, so now it's out of shot. Not a serious problem because we're going to be cropping the photo anyway afterwards, but let's try and keep it looking good in the video in the studio. So here we have then the light, which is going to come directly onto here, and in theory it's going to bounce back on the other side of Hilda, and it's going to fill in those shadows. So let's give it a try and see what we get. Are we ready, Hilda? Okay, so let's zoom in on that a bit and see whether we have been able to fill in any of those shadows. And yeah, we have filled in a little bit. So I'm going to have to bring that closer because I want to fill in even more, all right? And I'm going to bring it a little bit further forward as well so that it gives more effect to the front of her face. So let's bring that like that. Okay, I think that should be okay. And let's see what we get now. Are we ready? And there we go. Okay, zoom in again. You can see that now we're filling in a bit more of her face on the other side. So I'm going to bring that even closer because you can see that the flash is closer to her than the reflector. So let's bring that in so they're more or less the same. Remember, we're going to crop this photo anyway. So let's just turn on the live view. And then I can control how much we can see and how much we can't. Okay. Okay, I think that's fine. Let's see now how this looks, having the reflector closed right in like that. And are we ready? 1, 2, 3. And there we go. We can see now there is definitely a difference. So let's zoom in on that and see how that has filled in the other side. And wow, there is an enormous difference there. We can see that not only has it filled in it's also softened the light on the other side of her face. So now what I'm going to do is an experiment. But basically, I'm going to swap over these two lights. So I'm going to put the key light on this side, and I'm going to put the reflector on the other side. Like that, we're going to get a softer light on the other side of her face. And then we can compare these two photos. So the first thing I need to do is to make some space to bring it over. So I'm going to drop this down like this, bring it over here. Now I'm on wheels, which is great. So I'm going to drop this down a little bit as well, so I don't break the fluorescent tube at the top. Roll it across this side. There we go. And then we'll take the reflector onto the other side. And let's start setting this up again. Okay, so the first thing we want to do then is to get that out of shot. Doesn't matter if it's there, for example, that would be fine. Okay. And let's just get the feathering there right. That's going to give us, the more feathered the light is on Hilda's head, the darker the background is going to be, okay? So you can see that this light now is almost at a right angle to her. Now we need to make sure that the reflector is also going to do its job. So let's get that up as high as we can. So we want to get this in as close as we can without it being in a shot. And we also want this to get in as close as possible without it being in shot, or at least having the possibility to be able to crop. So I think that if we raise this up now, we are more or less there. So let's raise this up without changing the angle, and let's see now what we can get. Are we ready, Hilda? Okay, so let's take a look at the zoom in and see how that is. Okay, so now I think we've got too much light on this side and not enough on the other. So how are we going to solve that? Well, let's play around. Let's turn down the power first. No, let's leave it at 1/16 and bring it out just a little bit more like that. And then let's make sure that the reflector is actually reflecting the way we need it to. So, okay, so I'm not in shot there. So the closer I am with that reflector, the better it's going to be. So even though it's in shot, when I crop out, we're not going to see that. All right, so are we ready? Let's go. And there we go. So let's zoom in on that, see how the light is looking there. And we can see that what we've created now is a correctly illuminated side of her face to the key light and a softer reflected light on the other side. So now what I'm going to ask Hilda to do is to look in this direction between the camera and the monitor to see how that reflector is going to create a difference. Are we ready? And there we go. So now we can see we have perfect Rembrandt lighting. We have that triangle there. Let's zoom in, okay, and let's go down there so we can see we have a perfect set. So what we're going to do is we're going to try the opposite direction now. So Hilda is going to look the other way at the reflector, and let's see now how that is going to fill her in on the other side. So are we ready? 1, 2, 3, and let's zoom in there and also see now that the lighting on the other side is absolutely superb. There's a nice shadow on this side, but I think we're going to have to increase from 1/16 to 1/8 and then move back the flash to be able to get what we're looking for. So if you can look perhaps at this monitor here, Hilda, thank you very much. Okay, and let's see there. Let's zoom in now. Remember, we've just increased by a stop our light, and I think that that is certainly looking much better. So all I need to do now is just to move that key light just a little bit more towards me, and let's do it like that. And I'm also going to move the reflector a little bit more like that. Okay, so we just made another final adjustment here to these lights, and I think this time it's going to be right. So are we ready, Hilda? Let's see if this is the definitive, and we can take some photos. All right, let's do one, a test, And I think we've got it. Yeah, let's look now at the zoom there. Okay, now if you turn your head now towards the reflector a little bit, please. All right, thank you. And let's see there, zoom in, and yes, that lighting is so much better. So I'm just going to pull this light now a tiny bit more. Once our key light is set, we're not going to have to move it anymore, but I really want it to be absolutely perfect. So let's pull that back just a little bit more to take away those highlights. And one more test. Here we go. And okay, so those highlights are definitely disappearing more and more and more. You can see that we have light in her hair. Still got some highlights there on the face and a few on the neck. This is just a question of trial and error. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reduce again to that, as we've just made some changes. I just reduce the flash power one more time, and let's see now what we get. Okay, and we can see that we have good lighting. The highlights have gone. We're here in the studio on a summer's day, and it's very warm. You can probably see that I'm starting to sweat, and we can see that there are some shines coming out as well on Hilda's face. So we're just going to take a break for a moment, and we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so there we've just removed our shines, and now we're going to use the lighting that we set up before to be able to take a few photos. So I'm just going to press the button, and Hilda is going to pose the way she knows how. So are you ready, Hilda? Every time I click, you change your pose, okay? Fantastic, thank you. Okay, well, as you can see then, Hilda has just done a quick change, and I've also changed the lighting around a little bit as well. So I moved the reflector out of the way because at the beginning of this video, I promised that I was going to use the 7-inch reflector, and that's what I've done. So I've set the 7-inch reflector up on a light stand over here with a second Neewer Q3 flash attached, and we just basically have the reflector, the bare bulb, which we're going to use here. So first of all, we're going to see how this looks if we lift that up a little bit. Okay, so first of all, we're going to use the fill light here on the other side of her face, and let's see how this looks. Now, I've just set these lights then. The key light is on 1/32nd power, and the fill light is on 1/64th power. And it's also further away. Let's see how it looks. Let's do a test shot and see how it looks, and then we can go from there. Okay, so we can see several things. Number one, we've created a shadow on the wall. Let's zoom in there and see what the photo itself is looking like. Okay, so that's not too bad, all right? I think we're more or less right on the lights. Just a little bit of highlight there on this side. So let's bring down those highlights there. Let's bring down the power of the C flash from 1/64th. Let's take it down to 1/128th and see how that looks now, because I think the key light was more or less right. So are we ready? Let's go. And yeah, so let's go into there and zoom into that and a little bit more. And yeah, the highlights still there, but I have a solution for that. There are very few highlights on the other side. I think the key light is great, but the fill light seems to be stronger than the key light. So I have a solution. It's called, actually it looks like a shower cap, but it's not. It's a small diffuser for the 7-inch reflector. I'm going to take that 7-inch reflector off, and I'm going to add it, and then we'll see how that looks. So let's just take that out of there. I'm going to set this here on my little table, which I have in front of me, and stretch it across. And try to stretch it across. And there we go. So let's put that table back there out of sight. You didn't know that was there, did you? Always useful to have a table just in front of you. Okay, so let's take that again now, and let's add it to our fill light, and let's see how that is looking now. So are we ready? Now this will have taken down some of the power. We've probably lost 1 or maybe even 2 stops of light here, but in theory, it should be a softer light. So let's give it a try and see how it looks. And here we go. Okay, so you can see it has definitely reduced the amount of light in the photo, but it is a softer light, okay? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to bring that ground a little bit more to the front, and I'm going to leave the key light exactly where it is and see how we can change that. So are we ready? Let's just bring it a little bit further to the front, like that, and maybe there, and let's see how that's looking. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, and okay, so now if we look, you can see is more or less equal on each side, and that's not what we want, is it? Because we want the fill light to be lower than the key light. Okay, so let's do one more thing, which is going to be to reduce the fill light. Now, unfortunately, I can't because the fill light is on its minimum power. So the only choice I have is to move it further back. So if we move that further back, like that, we should have taken off maybe a stop or a stop and a half. So are we ready, Hilda? Yeah. Let's see now how the other side of the face is. And now we can see that our key light is stronger than our fill light. Yeah. We now have a little bit of shadow in this side, and our key light is more exposed. Hilda, you do your thing. I'm going to press the button a little bit because I think we've got more or less the right exposure here. So as you run, and let's take 6, 7, 8 photos. Are we ready? Okay, so there we have then a number of photos using this particular lighting setup. But I want to use that second light. I don't want to put a third light into here. I want to use that second light to be able to illuminate and separate Hilda from the background. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to bring it around to this side here, more or less there, I think. Make sure it's on her hair as well. And yep, that's perfect. Okay, now we don't have that fill light. So if I take the photo now, we will see that now on her shoulder, we have a lovely light. And we can see that her hair is now illuminated and she is separated from the background. So let's just zoom in there and see. Okay, so there she is, separated from the background. We can see those lights on her shoulder. And in fact, we could even increase that. So let's increase that just a little bit. This is the C light. So let's take that up to 1/32. So that's 2 stops of power extra we've just given there. And let's have a look again. So are we ready? And now we can see an enormous difference on her shoulder. So let's zoom in there and see how this is helping us. Yep. So we can see that she is separated from the background. Her hair is illuminated. That is looking very nice. So now what we need to do is to fill in the other side of Hilda's face. And to do that, we're just going to use the same reflector again. So let's just pull it out. Let's go around this side because it's less dangerous with that table. So let's bring that up first of all. And let's see how the reflector is actually working on reflecting the light. We need to make sure that the light is directed towards the reflector so that it can bounce back off. So, well, we are feathered there. Okay. And our light is over here. So in theory, things should be okay. Let's see how much is in shot and how much isn't. Okay, so I need to move the key light back just a little bit because that's going to be difficult to crop. Okay, so that's more or less a good angle. Yes, I can crop there. And I think the reflector is also good. So are we ready, Hilda? So let's give it one more try and see if we're going to get the key light, the rim light, and the reflector all working in tandem or all working together to be able to get the desired lighting effect. So are we ready? And there we go. And yes, if we zoom in now, we'll see that we have the separation we want. We have the reflector filling in light, and we have the key light also more or less what we're looking for. Her hair is illuminated, and I think everything is looking nice. So with that said, are we ready? And let's take some photos. You do the posing, I'll do the button pressing. Okay, so we're just going to do one more test before we finish. I said at the beginning that we may use a colored gel. Okay, so I'm going to put a colored gel. I'm not going to move absolutely anything, but I'm going to put a colored gel on the rim light behind Hilda. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this, because I'll bring this around to the front so we can see exactly what I'm going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this 7-inch reflector, and I'm going to take this, which is a copy of the Mag Mod gel set and filter set. So I'm just going to put this onto the front of the flash, hopefully without knocking it over. And there we go. And now you can see that I have this, which is just going to clip on like that onto the front of the flash. Okay, now I've got a yellow set up here, but I think I'm going to use a red first of all. So let's just slot that in there. There we go. And let's put that on the front of the flash, and let's take it back around here and put that back in its position. Bring it up so that it's at its correct height, and there we go. And in theory, we should have now a gelled light. So let's see how this is looking. Let's turn off the flash trigger a moment and turn it back on, and let's see what we get. Are we ready? Okay, now you can see that there is an absolute amazing difference here in these two. I think it's actually too much, okay? Because what's happening here is that red flash is hitting the back of Hilda's head, but also it's hitting the reflector and bouncing back into her face. So you can see that her face is also has that red tinge to it. Yeah? So what we're going to do here is we're going to reduce that just a little bit, which is on the C. Let's reduce that down to 1/64th power and see. Let's even take it down to its minimum, and let's see how that looks now. Are we ready, Hilda? And okay, so that is a lot less now. I think by taking it down to the minimum power was just a little bit too much. So we're going to put it back in the middle. So let's put this now on 1/64th power and see now how that gives us. Are we ready, Hilda? Okay, so let's zoom that in now and see how that's affecting. Let's take some photos. So Hilda, I'm going to, again, press the button and you're going to do the posing. Remember that the more you turn that way, the more the red is going to affect you. And the more you turn the other way, the more it's going to hit your hair. All right? So as you wish, and let's go. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to change the color of this gel. All right, so let's use a blue one. The reason I'm bringing it around to the front here is so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So there it is inside, and I just clip it on. As I say, this is a Celens. It's a copy of the Mag Mod, and I picked it up very cheap on AliExpress. Okay, so let's bring that back up again, like that. Okay, and the reflector, let's have it there. Is it intruding too much? I don't think so. And let's just take our final test then with a different colored gel. So are we ready then? Okay, now we can see that the blue has made, again, an enormous difference. So let's take a look at that. That's beautiful. That is really, really beautiful. Okay, so I think it's completely set. Let's take some photos now. You do the posing, I'll do the button pressing, and let's go. Okay, so there we can see then how different gels on rim lights can change the look completely in the photo. Well, there we have it. Okay, so we can see then that by using a series of light modifiers, we can change the effect of the session completely. Without using light modifiers, without using gels, quite honestly, every photo is going to look very similar. Okay, so we can see then that we've used the Octagon softbox. We've used the grid on the front of the softbox. We've used the 7-inch reflector. We've used the 7-inch reflector with a white diffuser on it. Then we've used the, come over here, we've used the magnetic Celens colored gels to create different effects in different angles of the photos. As always, I will add affiliate links to the gear used or spoken about in this video in the description section down below. Remember, if you do buy something from one of my affiliate links, the price to you will be the same, but I will receive a small commission, which will help me to continue creating content for you on this channel. remember that subscribing to a YouTube channel is completely free for you and it helps the channel to grow. So if you found this video interesting and useful, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel and ring on that notification bell to be notified every time a new video drops on my channel. So nothing remains for me to say except thank you so much, Hilda, for being an excellent model today, and I hope to be able to cooperate with you again in a future video. So remember, please check out Hilda's Instagram page, which is down here on the screen. So until the next time, this is Andy at Photech Video signing off. Take care and be safe.